Something happened last night. While you were sleeping. While your heart was at rest. Someone made a decision about you. A decision that will change everything. You don't know it yet. But today, the person you care about most will do something unexpected. Something they've never done before. Something that will leave you completely shocked. What if I told you that right now? At this very moment. Someone is holding a truth about you. A truth they've kept hidden for weeks. Maybe months. Perhaps even years. And today, that truth will finally come to light. Don't skip. What you're about to hear, it matters. You felt it, haven't you? Something shifting in the air around you. Something you couldn't quite name. A restlessness in your chest. A quiet knowing that wouldn't go away. You told yourself it was nothing. You pushed the feeling aside. But deep down, you knew. Something was coming. Here's what you don't know yet. That feeling wasn't anxiety. It wasn't fear. It was preparation. Your heart was getting ready for what's about to happen. Because today, that feeling will make sense. Someone in your life has been carrying a weight. A weight that belongs to you. A truth they've been protecting. Not to hurt you. Never to hurt you. But because they didn't know how to say it. They didn't know when the right moment would come. And then, something changed. Maybe you've noticed them acting differently lately. Perhaps you've wondered why they seemed distant. Why they hesitated when you asked certain questions. Why they looked at you with eyes that held secrets. You thought it was your imagination. You thought you were reading too much into things. You weren't. Stay with me. The next part is important. What if everything you thought you knew about this person? About your connection with them? About what they feel for you? What if all of it was only half the story? What if the other half has been waiting? Quietly. Patiently. For the exact right moment to reveal itself? That moment is today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Have you ever wondered why certain people enter your life? Why some connections feel different from the very beginning? Why you can't explain the pull you feel towards certain souls? You've asked yourself these questions. Late at night. When the world was quiet. When your thoughts were the only sound. And you never found a satisfying answer. Did you? But that's not all. Something else happened. Something that will change how you see everything. The person you love. They received news about you. News that shifted something inside them. News that made them see you in a completely different light. And now, they can't keep it to themselves anymore. They can't pretend. They can't wait. Today, they will speak. And when they do, you'll understand why everything happened the way it did. Another truth. This moment has been orchestrated. Not by chance. Not by coincidence. By something greater. A force that moves through all things. A hand that guides hearts toward their true purpose. You might not believe that. You might think life is random. But you can't explain away what's about to happen. Perhaps you've been feeling alone lately. Perhaps you've wondered if anyone truly sees you. If anyone understands the weight you carry. The battles you fight silently. The hopes you've buried deep inside. You felt invisible. Unnoticed. Forgotten. That's about to change. Today, someone will look at you. And they will see everything. Not just what you show the world. Not just the parts you've carefully polished. But the real you. The hidden you. The you that only comes out when no one is watching. And they will not look away. One more layer. What they're about to tell you. It won't just surprise you. It will rearrange your entire understanding of them, of yourself, of what's possible between two hearts. The biggest truth is still hidden. But it's coming. And you're not ready for it. Not yet. But you will be. By the time it arrives, you'll be ready. Because you've been prepared for this moment your entire life. Think about that. Every experience you've had. Every heartbreak. Every joy. Every lesson. Every sleepless night. Every prayer you whispered into the dark. All of it has been leading to this single moment. This revelation. This unfolding. This shock that will set you free. You'll understand soon. But wait. Before you try to guess what it is. Before you let your mind race through possibilities. Stop. Just for a moment. Breathe. What if the surprise isn't what you expect? What if it's something deeper? Something that reaches into the core of who you are. Something that changes not just your relationship, but your entire life's direction? Perhaps you've been waiting for a sign. A signal that you're on the right path. A confirmation that you're not alone. A message that your prayers have been heard. Perhaps today. Today, that sign will arrive. Not through words alone. Through action. Through a gesture so unexpected, so powerful. It will leave you breathless. One final truth before the story continues. This person. They've been watching you more closely than you realize. They've been noticing things about you. Things you thought were invisible. The way you care. The way you give. The way you love without expecting anything in return. They've seen it all. And they've been moved. Deeply moved. Now, something is happening within them. Something they can no longer contain. Something that demands to be expressed. And when it finally comes out, you will finally see. You will finally know. You will finally understand why this connection was never accidental. Before you leave this moment. Before you go back to your day. Ask yourself this. What if today becomes the day you look back on forever? The day everything changed. The day the person you love finally told you the truth. The truth that was always waiting. The truth that was always meant for you. The next part is coming. And when it does, everything will make sense. Everything. But that's not for now. That's for later. For now, sit with this. Sit with the knowing that today, something is coming. Something good. Something true. Something that will shock you in the most beautiful way. The hours are moving now. Faster than they usually do. Have you noticed? Time feels different today. Lighter, somehow. As if the universe is hurrying toward something. Something it's been waiting to show you. But here's what you still don't know. This person. They almost didn't do it. They almost kept the truth hidden forever. There was a moment, not long ago, when fear almost won. When doubt almost silenced them. When they looked at what they were about to do. And thought, maybe I should wait. Maybe I should protect them. Maybe some truths are better left unspoken. But then something shifted. Something inside them that they couldn't ignore. A voice. Not loud. Not demanding. But steady. And it said one thing. Now. Don't skip what comes next. What if I told you that this person has been rehearsing this moment? Over and over. In their mind. In the quiet hours. In the spaces between their thoughts. They've imagined your face. Your reaction. Your eyes. They've played out every possible version of this conversation. And none of their rehearsals prepared them for what they actually feel. Because the truth is bigger than they imagined. Bigger than they could ever prepare for. Perhaps you've sensed their nervousness. Perhaps you've noticed them looking at you a certain way. A way that made your heart pause. A way that seemed to carry more weight than usual. You almost asked them. Didn't you? You almost said, "What's going on?" But something held you back. Something told you to wait. Something told you the time wasn't right. That instinct was correct. Because if you had asked, they would have told you too soon. And this truth. It needs the right moment. Not a moment you force. Not a moment you demand. But a moment that arrives naturally. A moment that the universe itself has carved out. Just for this. Just for you. Another piece now. Something you haven't considered. What if this surprise isn't just about what they say? What if it's about what they do? What if it's not words at all? But something tangible. Something physical. Something that will remain long after the moment has passed. Think of the last time someone truly surprised you. Not a small surprise. Not a casual gesture. But something that reached into your chest and held your heart. Remember that feeling? That feeling of being completely seen. Completely known. Completely valued. Now multiply that feeling. Multiply it by everything you've been through. Everything you've survived. Everything you've overcome. Everything you've silently carried. That's what's coming. That's what today holds. And you're not ready for it. But you will be. The person you love. They've been watching you more than you know. Not just your actions. Not just your words. But your silences. Your pauses. Your sighs. Your unanswered questions. They've noticed the moments you thought no one was paying attention. The moments you thought didn't matter. The moments you thought went unnoticed. Nothing about you has gone unnoticed. Nothing. Stay with me now. This part is delicate. There was a moment in their life. A moment before they knew you. Before they understood what you would mean to them. A moment when they were lost. When they were searching. When they felt invisible. And then. You appeared. And everything changed. Not because you did anything extraordinary. But because you were simply, you. Because your presence shifted something in them. Because your existence became a question they couldn't stop asking. And now, that question has an answer. An answer they've been carrying. An answer they've been protecting. An answer they're about to finally give you. One more layer. What if this surprise reveals something about you? Something you've never seen in yourself? Something others have always seen? But you never believed? You've been walking through life with a blind spot. A beautiful, wonderful blind spot. And today, someone is about to remove it. Not by force. Not by pressure. But by love. By showing you who you truly are. By reflecting back the light you've been hiding. By holding up a mirror that doesn't lie. Have you ever wondered why you're so drawn to this person? Why their presence feels like coming home? Why their voice calms something in you that no one else can reach? You thought it was chemistry. You thought it was fate. You thought it was luck. But it's none of those things. It's something deeper. Something that was written before you arrived. Something that's about to be revealed. But that's not the whole story. The whole story is still waiting. Here's what you need to understand. This person is afraid. More afraid than they've ever been. Their hands are shaking as they prepare to speak. Their heart is pounding. Their mind is racing. Because they know that once this truth is spoken, nothing will be the same. And that terrifies them. Because they don't want to lose you. They don't want to risk what you share. They don't want to break what has become so precious. But they also can't stay silent. Not anymore. Not after what they've discovered. Not after what they've been shown. Not after what they know is true. The truth is burning inside them. And it needs to come out. Perhaps you've been wondering why they've been distant. Why they've pulled back. Why they've seemed distracted. Why they've been quiet in a way that felt wrong. You thought it was about them. You thought they were dealing with something you couldn't help with. And you were right. But you were also wrong. Because what they were dealing with was you. Was your connection. Was the weight of what they've been carrying for you. One final truth before the next part. Today, when the moment comes. When they finally speak. When the truth finally arrives. You will not be able to process it all at once. That's okay. You don't need to understand everything immediately. You don't need to have answers. You don't need to know what comes next. All you need to do is receive it. Let it land. Let it settle. Let it begin its work in your heart. The work of transformation. The work of revelation. The work of becoming who you were always meant to be. The moment is closer now. Much closer. Can you feel it? That tension in the air. That electricity that wasn't there before. That strange stillness that seems to have settled over everything. The world is holding its breath. And so are you. Even if you don't realize it yet. But something is different now. Something has shifted. In the last few hours, something changed. Not in the world around you. But in the person who's about to speak. Something happened to them. Something they didn't expect. Something that made this moment even more significant. Don't leave now. What comes next will change how you see everything. What if I told you that they received another piece of news? Just this morning. Just before they were about to finally tell you. News that confirmed everything. News that removed the last bit of doubt. News that made them certain beyond any shadow of a question. They were already ready. But now they're unstoppable. Have you ever had a moment like that? A moment when everything clicks? When the last piece of the puzzle falls into place? When you suddenly see the picture that was always there? That's what happened to them today. That's what changed everything. Perhaps you've been praying for clarity. Perhaps you've been asking for a sign. Perhaps you've been wondering if you're on the right path. If you're with the right person. If your life is moving in the right direction. And perhaps today. Today is the answer. The answer you've been waiting for. The answer that will quiet every question. The answer that will silence every doubt. One more piece. This person has been struggling. More than you know. More than they've shown. They've been wrestling with themselves. With their own fears. With their own unworthiness. They've been asking themselves. Why would someone like them care about someone like me? Why would they choose me? Why would they stay? And then something happened. Something that made them see themselves differently. Something that made them realize they've been wrong about themselves. Wrong about their value. Wrong about their place in your life. Wrong about what they deserve. And now, they're ready to tell you the truth. Not just about you. But about them too. The truth is bigger than you think. It reaches further than you can imagine. It touches parts of your life you thought were separate. Parts of your story you thought were closed. Parts of your heart you thought would never be seen. Stay with me. This is where it gets deeper. What if today's surprise isn't one thing? What if it's many things? Unfolding one after another. Layer after layer. Revelation after revelation. Not just one truth. But several. Each one building on the last. Each one opening a door to something new. Each one revealing something you never expected. And by the end of the day, you won't just be shocked. You'll be transformed. Imagine that. Imagine waking up one morning as one person. And going to sleep that night as someone completely different. Someone who sees the world differently. Someone who understands their life differently. Someone who knows things they never knew before. That's what's happening today. That's what's about to happen to you. The person you love. They've been given a gift. A gift they're about to give to you. A gift that cost them something. A gift that required courage. A gift that demanded they face their own fears. And they did. They didn't run. They didn't hide. They didn't make excuses. They faced themselves. And they chose you. Another layer now. Something you haven't considered. What if this surprise is connected to a moment from your past? A moment you've forgotten. A moment that seemed small at the time. A moment that didn't seem to matter. But that moment, it planted a seed. A seed that has been growing all this time. A seed that is finally ready to bloom. And when it blooms, you'll see. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is random. Everything has been working toward this. Every tear. Every disappointment. Every closed door. Every unexpected turn. It was all leading here. All leading to today. Perhaps you've been wondering why certain things happened. Why certain people left. Why certain opportunities passed you by. Why certain dreams didn't come true. You thought it was failure. You thought it was rejection. You thought it was the universe saying no. But it wasn't. It was the universe saying not yet. Not that. Not them. Not then. Because something better was coming. Something more aligned with who you truly are. Something that arrives today. One final truth. This person isn't just going to surprise you. They're going to show you something about yourself. Something you've never been able to see. Something that's been hidden in plain sight. Something that everyone else has noticed. But you've been blind to. Because you've been so focused on your flaws. On your mistakes. On your shortcomings. On everything you think is wrong with you. And today, they're going to show you what's right. Not in a way that makes you uncomfortable. Not in a way that feels forced. But in a way that feels like coming home. In a way that makes you finally believe. In a way that lets you see yourself through their eyes. And through their eyes. You're extraordinary. You always have been. You just didn't know it. The biggest truth is still hidden. But it's almost here. The moment is almost upon you. The words are almost spoken. The heart is almost opened. And when it happens, when everything finally comes together, you'll wonder how you ever lived without knowing this. How you ever survived without this truth. How you ever existed without this person's honesty. The hour has arrived. Not the hour you expected. Not the hour you prepared for. But the hour that was always meant for you. The hour when everything changes. The hour when the secret finally breaks free. And yet, something is different now. Something you can't quite name. Something that makes this moment even more significant than you imagined. Don't skip. This part holds the key. Here's what you need to understand. The person you love has been carrying this truth for so long. It has become a part of them. A weight they've learned to live with. A secret that has shaped their days. A truth that has colored every interaction with you. Every glance. Every conversation. Every silence between words. All of it has been touched by this truth. And yet, you never knew. You never suspected. You never even came close. Because they were so careful. So guarded. So determined to protect you. And now, they're about to let that protection go. Have you ever held on to something so tightly? Something you knew you needed to release? Something that was hurting you to keep? But you couldn't let it go. Because letting go meant facing the unknown. Letting go meant trusting something you couldn't control. Letting go meant risking everything. That's where they are right now. That's what they're about to do. But that's not all. Something else happened. Something that changed the way they see this moment. What if I told you that they had another conversation? A conversation with someone they trust. Someone who knows them deeply. Someone who helped them see the truth more clearly. And in that conversation, they heard something. Something that shifted everything. Something that made them understand that this moment. This revelation. It's not just for you. It's for them too. It's their liberation. Their freedom. Their chance to finally be fully known. Perhaps you've been carrying your own secrets. Your own truths. Your own things you've never said. Things you've tucked away in the corners of your heart. Things you thought no one would understand. Things you thought would push people away. And perhaps today, you'll find the courage to let some of those go too. Because when someone shows you honesty, real honesty, it invites honesty in return. It creates a space where truth can meet truth. Where hearts can finally rest. Where walls can finally fall. One more layer. This one is important. The person you love. They have a fear. A fear that has haunted them. A fear that has held them back. A fear that has whispered in their ear at the worst moments. The fear that they're not enough. Not enough for you. Not enough for this connection. Not enough for what they feel. They've spent years believing they fall short. Years believing they'll disappoint you. Years believing they'll eventually lose you. And today, they're going to face that fear. They're going to stand in front of it. They're going to speak their truth anyway. Despite the fear. Despite the doubt. Despite the voice that says, don't. You'll ruin everything. They're going to speak. Because they've finally realized something. Something that changed everything. They realize that losing you is already happening. Every day they stay silent. A little piece of this connection fades. Every day they hide the truth. A little more distance grows. Every day they pretend. A little more of them dies. And they don't want to lose you. They don't want to fade. They don't want to die. They want to be fully alive with you. Fully present. Fully honest. Fully themselves. And the only way to get there is through this moment. This conversation. This truth. Stay with me. We're almost at the heart of it. What if the surprise isn't just something they say? What if it's something they've already done? Something they've been working on. Something they've been creating. Something that has taken time and effort and sacrifice. Something that represents everything they feel. Everything they've never been able to say. Everything they've wanted to show you. Imagine that. Imagine someone who loves you so much. They've been quietly preparing. Quietly working. Quietly building. Not for recognition. Not for reward. But simply to see your face. To see your eyes light up. To see your heart open. To witness your surprise. That's what's happening. That's what's about to unfold. Perhaps you've noticed small signs. Small clues you didn't understand. Moments when they seemed busy with something. Moments when they were secretive. Moments when they smiled in a way that made you curious. You didn't ask. You didn't pry. You let them have their mystery. And now, that mystery is about to reveal itself. Another truth now. Something you haven't considered. What if this surprise is connected to a dream you gave up on? A dream you buried. A dream you told yourself was impossible. A dream you stopped believing in. A dream you thought no one remembered. But they remembered. They heard you. They held on to it. And they've been working behind the scenes. Quietly. Patiently. Hopefully. To bring that dream back to life. To show you that nothing is impossible. To prove that what you gave up on, someone else held on to. For you. The biggest truth is still hidden. But you can feel it now, can't you? It's so close. So close you can almost touch it. So close you can almost hear it. So close your heart is beginning to race. Because somewhere deep inside you, you know something is about to happen. You know today is different. You know this person is about to change everything. And you're right. You're right. But one more thing before we reach that moment. One more layer. One more piece of the puzzle. What if this surprise? What if it's the beginning? Not the end. Not the final answer. Not the completion of something. But the beginning of something. The opening of a door. The first step of a journey. The first word of a story that will unfold for years. Today isn't the end of the mystery. It's the beginning. And when you look back on this moment, years from now, you'll see it as the day everything truly started. The day your life began. The day you finally understood. The day you finally arrived.